Welcome back to Sitting with Spirit, my loves. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you know somebody who could use this message, please send it their way. So as I was tuning into our angels and guides, the very first thing that came through was this idea of shedding of the snake skin. And I feel like we're in this like sort of ending of an era. And I know that at the time of recording, Pluto's about to move into Aquarius. We're all sort of in this space of transition and death and rebirth. And this shedding of the snake skin is very much attached to that. And when it comes to a shedding of a snakeskin moment, it's not just about one little change. It's a series of changes that add up to a next level version of self that want to be born. And when we go through a shedding of a snakeskin moment, things that used to resonate with us, things that we used to participate in, things that we used to move through without question might not feel the same or resonate the same in our heart space anymore. And we're at this moment of self-discovery, of really saying, does this still resonate with me? Am I just going through the motions? And this might include even a style change, a friendship group change, a reorganization of our room, like everything on the external and the internal is part of the snakeskin shedding, and they both reflect each other. And so with that being said, they were also really highlighting the South Node in Libra right now. And the South Node is like past. It's where we came from. And Libra is the sign of like dating, relationships, equal relationships, justice, fairness, balance. And I feel like there's a inextricable link between this shedding of the snakeskin moment and how it translates to our relationships, both romantic and platonic. And if we're waiting for our relationship patterns to change, I think first comes the shedding of the snakeskin, just like the Aries and the Libra polarity, where Aries is all about self and identity. And the snakeskin is really saying, just time to shed that outdated layer of what we used to accept, of how we used to show up, and things that are just no longer authentic to who we are. I know it's really interesting because we're living through a moment in history that is a repeated moment. We lived through this collectively in the United States in 2016. But how are we moving through it differently based off of who we are now in 2024 going into 2025? And I feel like that's a part of the snakeskin shedding too, looking at where we give our power away, where we give into narratives of powerlessness, and that's on the micro and the macro scale. And once we shed this outdated layer of skin that we've been carrying for far too long, that will affect how we show up in relationships. And I know I've spoken about this in an earlier episode. I think it was the Love Life episode, that it's so appropriate that the Libra symbol is the scales, because what we bring up to the scales as we shed a layer, that will inevitably change what the equilibrium is showing up as on the opposite scale from us, because we're changing what we're showing up as. And so it just feels like it's a really powerful moment for love life and relationship upgrades, for healthier dynamics, for really coming into a new chapter within how we relate to others. And that all starts with the shedding of the snakeskin. And then I saw my symbol of a tornado. And when I see that symbol, it's my symbol for feeling like there's a time of chaos, feeling like things are out of our control, and feeling like things are just sort of all over the place. When I see this symbol, it's really interesting because the tornado symbol was shifting into a downward arrow as I was watching it. And my message that came with that is that it's really time to find the eye of the storm in our root chakras. So this is really a moment to not be spinning like a top in our head and our mental realms, but it's really a time to come down to grounding, paying attention to our physical body, being in touch with like our physical world that we can really control around us and our anchor to that and our community and our friends and the people around us. It's like getting out of the cerebral realms and a little bit more grounded into the practical, tangible realms, moment to moment, day to day through this time that feels really out of control and chaotic. And then there was like a really beautiful sensation shift. And all of a sudden, I felt just the most powerful force of love and magic. And it felt like there is this potential, even in the midst of this tornado energy, for a deeper layer of love. And even as we shed the snake skin, that outdated skin leaves room for us to experience deeper love in our hearts, deeper magic as we make room and new energetic space for that. And so I really do want to communicate this sense of hope and magic that was really being portrayed to me as just this calm sense, like we are here and we're not going anywhere and you are loved and supported. And as I was feeling that from our angels, it shifted into our past loved ones. And they, like, I have chills as I'm talking about this because they came through in such a full force way. I know that when this comes out, it's Thanksgiving, it's the holidays, grief is really heightened, and that there is just this feeling of we are around you in full force and we've never ever left and we never ever will. So I was like figuring out who my primary link was going to be with for this segment of the podcast today. But before I could get there, it was more about the community of the spirit world that's right here, right now with us, and how loved we are and how supported we are. I saw mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, friends. There was just such a community. Just like we have here in the physical world, we have a community in the spirit world that are all together, that love us and are not going anywhere. And it's the holidays and it's a time where grief can be heightened. I know a lot of people feel a little disconnected from their family at the moment. There's just so much going on in the collective, and the spirit world is just turning up the force on love. Just like we are asked to do that here on the physical world, they're doing that on the other side as well. And we're all mirroring each other in a beautiful language of love. And I really want to highlight that. And so then after I sort of felt like everybody's people wanted to be heard for this specific episode that's coming in the holidays, so they all came as a group, I started to branch off to a father energy and spirit who also is a grandfather. And he was talking about how his grandson was having a hard time and how somebody listening, it feels like a mother listening, is having a hard time with their youngest son. I got this feeling that there was a lot of secrets and hiding things and a hard time communicating, a hard time expressing feelings, maybe even some mental health stuff in terms of depression or just not feeling like their normal bright self. And when this father in spirit came, he was talking about how important this message was. And he came with his mother as well. So it would have been the person's grandmother and the son's great grandmother. They were there together in spirit. And they were talking about how when it comes to family and parenting, perfectionism does not exist. And that we can be so hard on ourselves of like, we have to do this and I have to do that. But in reality, every single soul that comes here has their own free will, their own lessons, their own complicated, intricate network of energetic connections to not just you, but everyone else in the world around them. And that sadly, but not sadly, we're not in control of that. There is no such thing as perfectionism. And they really wanted to stress that. I also felt like with this message, and this is specific here, there's something about this son's dad needing to be more involved. That like you as the mom can speak until you're blue in the face, but there's something about the dad that needs to be more involved, more direct, and just maybe have that like tough love or something there. And the message that they want to convey is that instead of trying to go to your son, there might be some getting on the same page with his dad that feels important, and like teamwork there that feels important. So that's a very specific message for at least one of you. But the message for the collective, especially in this heightened time of intensity around the holidays, is that there's no such thing as perfect when it comes to parenting, and that you just showing up as your best, as your most loving is perfect, because that is your authentic self. I also saw this Father in spirit showing me a Christmas tree with special ornaments. And I felt like there was something about him loving Christmas and there being an ornament that was really special to him. And I saw this kind of Tiffany color blue, like a robin's egg blue, as he was talking about that. And then I also saw his mom in spirit, and she was talking about knitting like doilies or something. And I felt like there might be some sort of Christmas knitted needlework, something there with hers that's a decoration of hers that you might put out during the holidays. And I feel like in this holiday season, our loved ones in spirit are piggybacking off of this, that they love the little decorations and traditions and touches that we do to remember them and honor them. And all of those things bridge the gap of the spirit world to our physical world. And they're all like, the spirit world is superimposed right here, right now. It's not a separate place. It's not floating on a cloud. And so when we have these beautiful things of remembrance for them, it just brings the love closer and closer and closer, and they can make their presence known, because then we're thinking about them and we're talking about them and we're remembering them, and they can piggyback off of that energy. That's just so beautiful. And the last message that they were talking about is how chosen family is just as powerful and important as biological family. And so through this holiday season, there's also a message here of like you choosing who resonates with your heart and who lights you up and who feels good for you to be around. And that is soul family, and that is so important too. And I feel like in this moment of the shedding of the snake skin, and that is definitely going to translate to our family relationships, our family dynamics, how we relate to the people around us, that it is more than okay. And they're just giving this permission, your ancestors in spirit, to really sink into and be with the people that light up your heart and support your heart. So a lot of messages here really coming down to being with your loved ones that don't have to be biological, but can be biological, but just being with your loved ones, remembering your loved ones in spirit, and knowing that no matter how chaotic and intense things feel here on the physical plane, the spirit world is really doing their part to just dial up the love and the support for us on the other side. So if you can even take 10 minutes a day and just set the intention of sitting with somebody you love in the spirit world, that is going to be such a powerful practice through this time. I really hope these messages are helpful. Claire, is there anything you want to say?
Oh, wow. This was such a powerful sitting with spirit, Taylor. I feel like I could say something about every single part of it. All just touched me really deeply and was what I needed to hear. And I think maybe I'll say just two things about it. That first of all, I just loved what you expressed about family, and that we don't need to be perfect, and that our family members don't need to be perfect. And I think, family can be challenging dynamics. I experienced this where my personality type and my family members' personality types aren't exactly in alignment. And maybe they wouldn't be the type of people I would find in life as my chosen family. And I think then sometimes it can get crunchy where you almost want to push them to be like you, or to fit into your box, or you can see how they would be thriving so much more if they would just this or that. And I just loved what you said about we're all here on our own specific journeys to learn our own specific lessons. And we are not here to shield our family members from that or direct them away from it. They're on their journey with their stuff just as we are. And all we really need to do is show up to them with love. And I know that can be challenging, but I really, especially in this moment where it feels so chaotic, like you were saying, I do feel like I have been connecting with people in such, even some kind of strangers, in this deep love and hope, because I think so many of us are feeling this scared hopelessness. And so I've been able to connect with people in the love that we both still have. And so it has been this blossoming of love in such a beautiful, unexpected way. And so, yeah, I think just connecting deeper into that and meeting our family where they are, and knowing that we also get to create our chosen family, like you said, and maybe find that connection we don't necessarily have with our family members in the chosen family. And we don't need to get everything from every person. Our family can give us one thing, and our chosen family can give us another, and allowing for that to be perfectly imperfect.
Yes, I love that so, so much. And I just want to comment first of all, it's so beautiful, everything you said. But I also want to comment on the fact that you're an Aquarius, because I feel like this is an important message for the collective as Pluto has moved into Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of the black sheep, it's somebody who comes in with a different consciousness and is here to be an example, and they can feel really ahead of their time, and it can be a lonely consciousness place to be where we have Aquarius placements. And I think Pluto moving into Aquarius is transforming our ability to sit with our authentic self and to be okay in that. And the beautiful other side of that Aquarian energy is that it's also the sign of friendships and community. And so Aquarius is the sign that's like, I'm going to bring together the unique, special, authentic people that resonate with my consciousness. And like Capricorn is the sign of traditions and doing things the family way. And then each sign that comes next is like a response to the sign before it. And so Aquarius is like, well, now I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to do things my way and I'm going to find people that I resonate with. And so I think Pluto in Aquarius is going to push all of us to really assess our communities, our friendships, who we surround ourselves with, and to feel powerful enough to have our own back. And I really liked what you said about our family doesn't have to be everything to us. And part of Aquarius is like choosing those rules for ourselves. And so I think that that's really beautiful. And I think with Pluto and Aquarius, and for those who have strong Aquarius placements, it's like you're not here to fit in with the status quo. You're here to learn to protect your light, to be your authentic self, regardless of the family or circumstances that you incarnated into. And I think that for some of us, we think, oh, I have this attachment to outcome that family has to look this way. And this is how other people's families are doing it. And this is how it's portrayed. And I myself have struggled with that as well, especially after my mom passed and a lot of things have happened within my family. And as soon as you can find that detachment from outcomes, it's so powerful when it comes to everything in life, especially family as well. And for some people, it is their actual soul purpose to go on a journey of feeling like the black sheep. For some people, we incarnated into circumstances where we're not meant to be like the Brady Bunch, and that's okay. And so I think if we can all just accept a little bit more of what is instead of trying to force or beg or change or shift or control, I think that that is such a powerful choice to detach from outcomes so that we can work on being the architect of what is in our control to our most authentic, powerful place.
Yes. Wow. I really relate to all of those Aquarian attributes that you said. But yeah, I think we're even more powerful when we step into the dynamics like that, when we're not trying to force and change, but we're just accepting what is and showing up as our authentic self. Then we can almost be like an example for our loved ones. And then they can choose how they respond to that versus maybe trying to push them and shapeshift them into something that we might see would be better for them. That is a tricky, sticky place. And I know it comes from love, but I think there's like a deeper layer of love, of trusting that this person is on their journey. And that if I just stand in my light and my power and love them authentically for who they are and where they're at right now, that will probably be the best help for them on their unique journey and also my own.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is set a boundary and say, I'm not going to allow any more enablement of abuse. And I'm not going to allow resentment to grow. And I'm not going to allow myself to be pushed down. And so love can come through in a lot of different ways. It's not always the Hallmark movie version of what a family looks like, and that's okay. I think the message that we want to leave you with today is that as we move deeper into the holiday season, really tune into the truth of what your heart is asking for, let go of outcomes, and just know there is no such thing as perfect, especially when it comes to family.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So have a beautiful, beautiful week, everyone. Have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Much love, and we'll see you soon.